Imagine a vibrant discussion between people that includes both openness and critical thought in the pursuit of truth. The Purchasing Truth podcast is an experience, a journey, an exploration of the impact that negative messages in politics and the media have on our families, community, society, and nation. Join your hosts, Bill Stierle and Tom Hazard, to discover new concepts and language strategies that will reveal effective ways of establishing truth. This podcast series will tackle current events, leadership challenges, healthcare confusion, integrity in business, and many other areas that affect us all. Gain clarity and understanding of the various truth perspectives. Welcome to Purchasing Truth.
Welcome to Purchasing Truth. I'm Tom Hazard with your host, Bill Stierle. And Bill, we set up last time that we were going to continue our discussion a little bit and maybe sort of pivot to truth and bulletproofing, which is very intriguing to me. And as I understand it from our discussion earlier, you have a good example that we can all discuss and consider today.
Yeah, let's take a look at this bulletproofing piece because it's really, really important. To start this off, the highest form of intelligence is the ability to observe without judgment. This particular sentence is a very strong anchoring. It actually comes from a spiritual teacher, Krishnamurti, which is that when you're seeing something, when you're hearing something, frame your mind in a place of observation. Don't frame your mind in a place of judgment, because immediately you're going to counter a judgment with a judgment. You're going to counter a criticism with a defensiveness. You're going to counter a defensiveness with a withdraw. You're going to counter a criticism with a contempt. It gets a little weird, but if you can keep your mind to bulletproof, if you can keep your mind in a place of observation, truth will start moving towards you instead of start arguing perceptions of truth, which we've talked about before here. So we want to gently train our mind to be observing of what the person says. So Tom, if you say the sentence, monkeys eat glue.
Okay, monkeys eat glue.
I need to counter that with an observational response. So Tom, you have the thought that monkeys eat glue. Would you be willing to tell me more about that? Well, actually, when I was in Indonesia, they told us to be careful of these packages because they had glue in it. The monkeys really like the glue. You might have a fact for it.
Imagine that.
You might have an experience of it. So when a person says, there is a whatever, all the things that tend to get made up for a wow factor, Hillary Clinton is too sick to be and doesn't have the stamina as a woman because blah, blah, blah. That is built upon you have no stamina. She looks at him and going like, you never worked a day in your life.
Yeah, you haven't jogged around the block.
I sat for 11 hours in testimony. What have you done? That truth didn't help her because she wasn't able to bulletproof herself from a comment like that.
But isn't it human nature, Bill? I mean, it seems to me that it is, that most people would not approach a statement like that from a place of objectivity, that they would always internalize it, and there's going to be an instinctive response. You're being attacked, you're going to either attack back or defend yourself, which is completely opposite to what you're suggesting.
Yeah, let's not get caught in the mud. People that throw mud just tend to get muddy, and the other person's just throwing more mud back, and then it's like, which mud sticks more is the person that's better at throwing mud, somebody that's really skilled in marketing and really skilled in sales, and really knowing how to do the 3-card language Monty, which is, shift the language around, try this out, oh, you picked that card. I just took your money,
Right.
and which he's doing. He's just like, oh, I just took your vote. I just reinforced the vote. I mean, the challenge is that when somebody says something that is unwarranted and doesn't adjust to the new fact of what their experience is, then there's big troubles, because the person is not have the ability, the adult ability to shift and go like, I know I said this during my election, and I promised this. I made this promise to my voters, but on the further awareness, I cannot act on that. It is not in our national best interest. I did hijack your vote when I said it, but it was not in the best interest. Many politicians run on something to get the population to appear and experience that the solution that they're promoting is something that is going to benefit, not benefit, be in alignment with their belief. See, that's not benefit. Alignment with a belief is not benefiting. Having a wall is not benefiting. The wall is a belief vote that turns into somebody grappling with, how to do integrity. Trump is grappling with integrity. The pullout from Syria was a promise, and he has clicked to the belief of that. And then all he's got to do is listen to the next person talking about that, and he'll just go, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Sure, Turkish forces can come in here because I've been wanting to fulfill this promise for a long time, and is he concerned about American respect and trust and integrity? No, not concerned about that at all, because he's been on a languaging, as many marketing and salespeople do, is a languaging and marketing position to get the sale, not necessarily to deliver a product.
I agree with that, Bill. I think the sale in this case, obviously keeping the campaign promise to him is seen as a win, which to him is paramount. He needs a win.
I did what I told you. I did what I said I was going to do. But the powers that be stopped me. Those Democrats stopped me from building the wall. Those military generals stopped me from pulling all the way out of Syria. Because the two last people that he proposed this to, I want to pull out of Syria. They go, I think it was Madison and another guy. They go, we're resigning. We are not going to. You're going to do this?
Yeah, the Secretary of Defense, Mattis.
We're resigning. You just because you're trying to fulfill a promise? Are you kidding me? Those people gave their lives under our handshake that we were going to be there for them, and knowing what to do, because we are so skilled at fighting these kinds of battles. Not as many of those people need to die because we're skilled at fighting these battles. And we could take them out, but it's like, the accordion mindset. Oh my gosh, of Trump is the accordion mindset is pulling out, pushing back, pulling out, pushing back, and then everybody's got to listen to accordion music. Tom, how long have you listened to accordion music in the past?
Too much. No, we've all heard it a little bit.
And usually accordion music is very happy, but it's also only lasts a short amount of time.
Yeah, it's a one note. It is.
I gotta. We should. We could get
we'll have to get a
video clip of accordion music, because this is what it is. It's like, the metaphor to, of the accordion narrative is, but see, if the person keeps playing the accordion, finally you just give up. You just go like, oh my gosh, I can't get away from this accordion. And what winds up happening is, I'm stuck with this word, and then this word then gets hijacked. So before I go into the hijacking of words and phrases, let's take a moment of bulletproofing.
Oh, okay. Because this is brilliant, Bill. And I think it can't be overemphasized what you set up in the first couple minutes of this episode, that approaching things from a place of observation is making yourself bulletproof if you do it properly. That was brilliant. And I'm excited to explore that some more.
So you pretend we're on the debate stage, and I'm going to be Hillary Clinton. You get to be President Donald Trump.
Yep. Wow. Okay.
And you get to say, to me, I don't think you have any stamina.
Okay. You don't have the stamina to be president.
Oh, so you really feel doubtful and skeptical about my skills and my health. Is that what you're thinking?
Yes.
Oh, so I'm guessing you're referencing some of the video footage of a time when I happened to have a cold and that I wasn't feeling very well, and you're reinforcing that. Is that what you're thinking?
Yes. And I probably would have added on and piled on other things, although I'm not remembering what it was at the time, right?
Right. And it doesn't matter whatever he says next. I'm going to pull forward in observation. I'm going to pull forward. This is a bulletproofing, because I want to bring it to me. I want to bring a half truth, a third truth, a truth perspective. I want to bring it towards me before I ever try to push back at it.
But it seems that what you're doing is trying to get me, in this case, the president, to have to step deeper into explanation and try to find some facts to back up my claim that you don't have the stamina. Is that?
That's correct. Going? Because could you tell me what some of your thoughts are about not having stamina?
He would be fumbling.
He's dumb. He's done, because all of a sudden as soon as you give a defensive response, even though the defensive response is true, she walked into the marketing trap. She walked into the sales trap. She just walked into it, and the proving of something is not as important as the exposing of something. See, I don't want to prove something with facts. I want to expose the other side. I don't need to see the whole point. The thing that makes a conspiracy theory work is the illusion of something not being seen. See, even President Trump doesn't know that he's hijacked by conspiracies. He doesn't even know that he's getting hijacked by more skilled people than others. Than these other folks are going like, hey, all the authoritarians are playing long-term games. They're not playing short terms. Trump is just trying to get on the court, and they keep stealing the ball from him. He doesn't even know.
Yeah, and because Trump really doesn't even recognize that regardless of how long he's in office, his job is temporary. Whereas these other authoritarians, they're trying to maintain power for the rest of their lives.
That's right.
There's no finite end to their rule.
And what they're doing, and what many of them do, is set up, some really strong visions and strong directions, and then it's by any means necessary to get those directions, and then they can say, we're following the direction I set, and isn't that a stable direction for us? And I need to take over Crimea because I need access to the Mediterranean. And this is the only way I can have access to the Mediterranean is to take over this thing, even though all he needed to do was be in relationship with the Ukrainians about it. But he couldn't be in relationship. He just wanted the whole thing because I need access to the Mediterranean and I need access to my shipping. Because I got to get my oil out of here. I'm a one-trick pony, and all I have is oil. That's my entire economy, and that's why their economy is so stable, and it's less than the economy of Italy. That's the thing that we've got to keep shaking our head, is that this economy can easily, because it's so thin, have some troubles to it with solar and wind. It can have some troubles to it with renewable energy, can have troubles to it because this is the only thing we have.
Yeah, the long game with Russia may be one of economic and energy when you think of it, as the world is moving toward renewables.
Yeah, the entrepreneurial market in Russia, to diversify, they've suppressed all their creatives. And that's the thing that's upsetting, is that they're not even utilizing all their talent, or don't know how to grow talent, as if America's any good at it. We're a little better at it. China's worse at it because they have no intellectual property laws to protect the creatives. You must protect the entrepreneurs. You must protect the creatives in order for them to have a ability to create and move things forward and try things out. You got to protect them. But what happens is, once you start protecting the creatives, then you've got to tolerate things like free speech, art. Of course, the criminals are in the creative category too. So you gotta have some toleration for the way things. And now we want to encourage that in the positive way rather than in the negative way. So bulletproofing, Tom, is staying in observation, pulling the sentence forward, and then putting the person out there on the plank to expose that, yeah, I guess you can think that some people get sick from time to time, but no one's ever seen you sick, Donald Trump, I guess. And, Mr. Trump, no one's ever seen you sick. And, at that time I was sick, but thank you very much for pointing out that at that moment of time. Oh, by the way, I was able to sit 11 hours, and being interviewed. And that tends to show stamina. Put the stamina thing after you've pulled out the illusion and the thing. Let him walk the plank a little bit. And then all of a sudden you can lay in something, and then it becomes, because that's called a build, an anticipatory build. But when you answer the question, when you come in with explanation too soon, when you come in with problem solving too soon, when you come in with the solution too soon, you don't build enlistment inside the listener. I've got to get my listener to so that turns into, she was very direct. She was really pretty clean about her response. Well, I did this, this, and this, and I've traveled the world, this, and this. I guess those two things don't count. Am I guessing that's right? Do they count or no? See, I'm calling him out on it. I'm saying, do those count? When's the last time you sat on a plane, and traveled for 13 countries in 3 months of time?
Well, but that just gives
I've traveled worldwide.
Yeah, it gives him the opportunity to try to counter that. I thought the other approach was more effective, though.
After.
Yeah.
You do all that. You do after. You don't need a lot of truth after you've pulled out a truth perspective and observation. You don't need to pound it. You don't need to pound them with, here's this thing, pound, pound, pound. Here's this thing. Because that's what she did. She gave 3 great examples.
Yeah.
Of how she had stamina. Those did not sway the extra 10%, 20, 15% she needed to get by this guy.
Yeah.
And that's what she needed. So,
Well, Bill, it occurs to me that it seems a lot of our news media on both sides of ideology really struggle with some of these same things, and they're not using language in the right way. That it seems at times they don't make the most compelling presentation to all of us as to what's really going on. Would you agree?
it's a little worse than that. That part what you said is true, but they actually are unaware of how to use language to build they can build temporary enlistment, but they don't know how to land um, their points. They regrettably get stuck too much in explanation and problem solving. They pursue truth too early instead of pulling truth perspective to them. They don't know how to do it. Why? Because as soon as you hear something, Rachel Maddow has done it, Jake Tapper, but that's not true. That's not the way it's happening. You're taking the timeline out of order. He's on the defensive side of that, instead of just going like, so you would like me to hear your truth, and the truth you would like to share with my audience is this truth. I feel curious about your truth. Can we put up the timeline when these different things have happened? And just put up the timeline on the screen and go, how can your truth match with that truth? Because those are the thing that's in the media. Could you tell me, do you have any evidence to change this timeline? Now, all of a sudden, the guest that is spreading propaganda, the senator, congressperson that was the hack, if I wanted to use my own labels and diagnosis, is the person that's promoting a truth perspective, is a more compassionate way to say it. He's promoting a truth perspective. The truth perspective is something happened with the Bidens. Something happened because the Biden son is junkie. Is got this money for nothing, and therefore, because the son is corrupt, therefore Biden is corrupt. Meanwhile, the timeline is that, and the truth is that Joe Biden was the advocate for anti-corruption in Ukraine. It's like, how did I get to be known as the corruption guy? I was the anti-corruption guy for 15 years, 25 years. I've been doing anti-corruption. I've been trying to take people to task and trying to help Ukraine to deal with the corruption elements inside their country. So, and the challenge here is that truth does get hijacked and does get purchased because these skilled practitioners in sales and marketing and branding get to take words, phrases, and get them to have alternative meanings. So let's do 3 words right now, or 3 phrases, 3 words and stuff that are words that started with a meaning and had a certain description, but only lasted so long until they were hijacked or eventually dropped. Okay. So at the beginning of psychotherapy, Sigmund Freud came up with this term called neurotic. That was the term. And for approximately 50 or so, or maybe even 70 years or so, the word neurotic was used, but until eventually what happened is therapists and psychologists started using it for all these different other things that really weren't it. So that what happened is they couldn't use the word neurotic anymore because it didn't fit something. It didn't fit a real definition. It wasn't a strong label and diagnosis. even though if we go look up, there might be a term and there might be a definition for it, but people tend not to use it anymore. They'll click to the latest label and diagnosis. They'll click to the latest, well, I'm bipolar now. Wow, you know what? I am, whatever the latest label is. Well, I'm not PTSD, all of a sudden takes over. See, there's certain labels that move in and other labels are dropped because, well, it doesn't really capture what we're actually dealing with right now. So human beings define and get a lot of certainty and meaning by not just the word that's being used, but by the definition that they assign to the word. Now, notice my face is scrunching right now. I'm scrunching and go like, the definition that they assign to the word, it's like, yeah, that creates certainty for a human being. And you and I've shown how even the word plan has 4 different definitions to it. So we really got to be aware that, somebody might not be listening to, what's going on. And because they're not listening to what's going on fully, they're using a different definition than the one we might be meaning. Okay, so neurotic, right? So we got the word neurotic. So let's if I was to bulletproof the word neurotic today, I couldn't do it because it's already been used and it's called diffused. The meaning has been spread out so thin that even in the industry, rarely you'll hear a psychologist or therapist say the word neurotic. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, let's do the same thing to fake news.
That's probably a little easier to grasp. All right, let's do that.
Okay, so people start realizing that there is on the internet that people are promoting and amplifying inciting stories that are eye-catching headlines that cause clicks to take place. And then they start charging people for eye clicks, and there's a charge per the click that takes place. So all you got to do is create a compelling title.
I would say maybe sensational headline. Is that
yes,
fair?
That's correct. That's fair. That's right. A sensational headline. You click on it. You know that there is a pedophile ring robbing out of a pizza market that Hilary Clinton's and the Clintons are running. That gets people to click. That gets one person to go like, I'm going to stop this because I know where the pizza parlor is, and then causes a loss of life. That would be an example of a fake news story that hijacked a person's belief regarding safety, identity, protection, and then is going to take a violent action. So that fake story caused a violent reaction.
And we all know now that that was truly a untrue story, I would say literal fake news.
That was a literal fake news. Now, the problem again with the word fake is what's the opposite of fake?
Well, I would think true.
Now you got our entire podcast. Our entire podcast is Purchasing Truth, is that truth doesn't have very much, doesn't have a place to go because there's no way to talk about truth perspective. More true and less true? Who's going to say that on the news? This is partially true or not true? No.
They're very black and white thinkers, and it's part of the problem, I think, with our news media, right?
And they get trapped. Now, observation, the thing that we started this in, allows the illusion to drop off of the word truth and to allow the fakeness to come forward. So in our example, if Trump says, you don't have stamina, oh, you're referencing that video of me stumbling getting into the car. Is that what you're referencing?
Yes.
See, now she has just isolated a point of fact. Oh, yeah. Gosh, I'm so glad that you care so much about me, because you're right. I was sick for about 5 days there. And during that time, I did not feel well. And I was working so hard, as you know. Watch how I'm gonna co-opt his energy here in a second. Oh, so you know how hard it is to go on the tour, because to go to campaign, how hard it is. And you know what? I really stretched myself, and I kind of got sick, and I got a cold. But thank you so much for caring for me, because I know how much you are a caring person. He'll look at her and go like, how do I debate that? What am I going to say? No, I'm not. What am I going to
Well,
say?
the
Gosh,
implication is no, you're not, even though she doesn't say that. I mean, some people are
no.
going to think, oh, he's going to look like he's not a caring person if he says anything else. But in reality, I think it comes through that he's not a very caring person, because he was trying to attack her on this. Quite honestly, what I thought was, and I'm going to label this here, I thought was a misogynistic statement.
Yeah. Well, that's true. And he fed into the belief of misogyny. So the belief structure. So you're right in the right ballpark with the word misogyny, Tom, because the belief, the implied is women are less than men. Women don't have the amount of
Right.
stamina that men do.
Correct.
So he still can, and that's why Elizabeth Warren is not going to get traction, because she doesn't know how to deal with a misogynist. She knows how to be accomplished, but she can't deal with a misogynist. Why? Because she can't deal with a misogynist. She can't bulletproof herself, and that's why it's a little skeptical. But you know what? If she knew some of these bulletproofing techniques that we're kind of talking about today, how to utilize observation, how to get to a place of strength through detachment, I mean, and be able to really use language to support herself, she gained 10, 15 points in the polls instantly, even over Joe Biden,
No, I agree. She
who
would.
also struggles with misogynists, who also
Yeah.
struggles with Trump's narrative. It's like watching two old guys fight. It's like, I don't want to watch Biden and Trump fight. I'd rather take Buttigieg out for a spin and say, dude, could you school these old characters on how to have integrity? Could you school these old folks about how to lead from an adult place? Because, I mean, he's the one that's the strongest one in that category, called leading from an adult place. He's better than all of them.
No, I agree with his use of language, for sure he is. But somebody like Elizabeth Warren could easily be trained how to actually battle Trump in that situation if they would actually
That's
open
correct.
themselves up to the idea that they need some more skills in this area in language and communication.
But by my experience over the last 19 years, gaining skill from one of my mentors who was an international mediator, about how to be compassionate in the face of violent language. You do not, you need to be tougher. No, you don't need to be tougher. You need to be more stable in your communication, not tougher. Tougher is easy. Then it gets into a spit match, and it's like, who has less mud on them? Instead of going like, well, who's the adult that I want running this ship, while I'm doing my job? That's all Americans want to do, is they want to do or stay in the place they would like to. They don't want to question their beliefs that much. And they want to trust that the marketplace is getting better, and that there's more adults dealing with the bigger vision of the nation, dealing with the bigger visions about how to deal with corporations, dealing with the bigger vision. I mean, that's the part of, the human experience that we really would like is that collaborative, cooperative experience. So like, for example, the phrase fake news, if you take fake news as fake news and you take the co-opted version of fake news, is that you can't use it anymore. Why can't you use fake news anymore? Because it means all news. Because
Yeah.
fake news has been shifted to all news is fake news. So that's called it's called the infusion of doubt and skepticism into media. The doubt and skepticism, when propagated inside the mind of the listener, they don't know where to turn. So they're going to turn to a polarized version of it. And regrettably, what the Republicans have shifted to that in order to get to their version of conservatism that is on the decline. They can't sell it because it's not fully true anymore. The version of conservatism, regrettably, is who is going to pay me the most money to give me the highest tax return. If I spend $200,000 on a campaign, that buys me that vote, and I get $2 million back for it because that guy just voted for the policy I would like. Well, that's a hell of an investment, is what that is. You know, I just spent $200,000 to get this guy elected, and I got $2 million back in tax breaks. I'll do that all day if I have that level of wealth and that level of stability, because they're going to support me on this. The other word I want to get to next is the word corruption, which is starting to get pulled over to the other side. Rachel Maddow mentioned this, is that corruption is starting to get thinned out too. So fake news gets levelized or normalized or things. Then the word corruption is starting to get normalized, which is I'm corrupt, you're corrupt, we're both corrupt. What does corruption really mean again? I can't remember. See how that works?
Yeah.
I'm corrupt, you're corrupt, but you like me, and I'm corrupt, but corruption, but he's corrupt, but no, he's corrupt, but I'm corrupt. So you get to take away legal terms. You get to blow up a brand or a meaning of things, and then inside the mind of listening, it's called the infusion of doubt and skepticism, so they can't make a decision. So then what do people do when they can't make a decision, Tom? They stay home and they don't vote.
Right.
They stay home, they don't vote because they can't make a decision.
So
Now,
what they've done by and so we've seen this happen. So obviously the whistleblowers report was highlighting alleged corruption by the president, right? Of saying, Ukraine, you can't have your funds unless you do me a favor and investigate Biden, try to find something. And so that was corrupt itself. The president says, hey, you know what? I was just going after corruption by Biden, and now he's trying to make it seem like he's going after corruption everywhere. It took away the impact of the word corruption, didn't it?
That's correct. That's right. That's called diffusing a brand. I want to diffuse a brand. Tom, what's a jacuzzi?
Whirlpool bath, right?
Yeah, that's called a hot tub. A hot tub is what the thing is. The jacuzzi is a brand name.
Yes.
Good.
Correct.
All right, great. So what's this thing that people jump on, and kids jump on them, and they bounce, and they can bounce really high, and it's big and round, maybe 10, 12 feet wide. What's that round thing called?
A trampoline?
Yeah, that's a brand name.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I thought he was. Hey, Tom, what's this thing that like people that people make copies on? What are the thing they call copies on? What's that called?
Well, we would commonly call it a Xerox, although that's a brand name. Yes.
That's a brand name. So what I just did was walk you into a thing called brand diffusion, and the thing is that brands can get decimated by overuse of their word. They get be known for the product, and what happens is that it works kind of like it's a short-term play. So you can kind of get an initial hit. Oh my gosh, they're calling our product the thing that it is. And then all of a sudden, as soon as a competitor shows up with a lower price or has greater quality, this only has this features, this has feature, this brand is going like, oh my God, I can't keep up to that. Right. I'm going to get decimated here, because it's like, shall I go with the jacuzzi or shall I go with the Sierra Spa? I think I'll go with the Sierra Spas, because what's a jacuzzi? Look, it doesn't have half the features. It doesn't look the way I would like it to look. So bulletproofing, one of the things we'll keep doing, Tom, is talk about how to bulletproof a message or bulletproof a brand or bulletproof a word, because corruption, what that means is, and this is what media needs to do, is they need to push on, this is the term, this is what we're in agreement on, this is what happened that is an example of not corruption, and here's an example of what's in alignment with corruption. So even though we're listening to a corrupt bribe that came out of the mouth of our president, we don't want to be known as the bribe nation, the nation that bribes people, because that's not from a position of strength. It weakens our word. It weakens our integrity. And now all of a sudden I can shift the word corruption to the word integrity very quickly. So it's like, you know what, he's just not saying what he's doing, and we don't stand there the way we need to. You know, how has this been fun?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think that bulletproofing is a great concept, and anybody can learn how to do this and be much more effective in, I'm trying to find the word, like arguing their position, really.
That's right. You got to be able to stand in the position, because there's times that you and I are not at our best, and we might pick one of these languaging strategies. But really, as a nation, we kind of sort of want to stay at a place and take the high road as integrity. Notice that our underbelly, there's a lot of folks that we include in our nation that are not in the highest integrity, that do not stand for the values that certain Americans have fought for. Can you imagine the American military that was hitting the beach of Normandy, all of those soldiers that died on the European invasion, coming back alive to listen to neo-Nazis talking about white supremacy? Their jaws would go like, I traded my life for this? Yeah, this is not the integrity of the nation. And when it's framed that way, notice how I just bought back American integrity. I want to reclaim that, and I want to reclaim that in such a way that steps into what integrity looks like. And that's what we're going to talk about, is truth and the restoration of integrity. That's what we want to do, because it's a bulletproofing technique in order to get things to hold meaning and hold stability, rather than getting diffused by this sales branding attribute.
Wow.
Okay?
Sounds great, Bill.
All right, buddy. So let's talk about that next time, okay?
All right, look forward to it.
Till the next time.
Thank you for listening to this Purchasing Truth podcast. We trust that you have enjoyed this engaging and thought-provoking conversation. Our hope is that you've received value, found clarity, and broadened your truth perspective in this episode. If you did, leave us a review or visit our website, purchasingtruth.com. Join us again for another informative and content-rich discussion here at the Purchasing Truth podcast. Don't just accept whatever information comes your way. Join the discussion. Discover your own voice. Purchase your own truth.